Hello, sports fan. This is Stephen Hill for Sports Choice Plus. I'm bringing you a very special breakdown. I'm going to be covering the entire NFL Week 2 for the NFL. I'm going to be breaking down the games, picking winner and losers. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get all the updates each and every time we have breakdowns here at Sports Choice Plus. Without further ado, we're going to get right into the action. Looking at the kickoff game for Thursday, you have the New York Football Giants taking on the Washington Football Team. Last week, we saw the Chargers come in and do some damage to Washington. You're looking at now, Fitzpatrick is out possibly for the entirety of the season, and you're looking at them going to the backup quarterback. When you're looking directly at what the New York Giants did positively against the Broncos, it was not a lot. So you're looking at two teams that are desperately in need of a win. And you're looking at, this is big because this is a divisional win for the NFC East. You're looking at Washington having clearly the better defense, clearly the better schematic pieces on offense. And you're looking and saying, if you put Taylor into the starting role as a quarterback, what has he done for this team? Well, the last time we saw him really in action before this game was against Tom Brady in the playoffs. And you saw the kind of performance he was able to put up and put those numbers together and really surprise a lot of people. Now, when you're looking at the New York Football Giants, a lot of mistakes. Daniel Jones was not impressive in any way, shape, or form. And you're starting to see a lot of people are starting to get impatient with Daniel Jones because the time is ticking for that #1 overall draft pick, and he has to get it right because there's a lot of inconsistencies in the New York Football Team. They were not able to run the ball extremely well. They were not able to pass the ball extremely well. They turned the ball over. So you're looking at the New York Football Giants coming into this game needing it more than the Washington team does, but I'm afraid they won't be getting it in this game. I think that the Washington Football Team has a better team top to bottom, and I think they're going to pull that one out on Thursday night. Moving up next to the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Chicago Bears. The Bears' offense flat out stunk. Let's just be clear. The defense was not able to stop anything. Matthew Stafford and the Rams came in and they threw the ball all over the place. Having a quarterback that can throw the football like Matthew Stafford, it made a big difference because a lot of the plays downfield were there. The cannon of an arm was there. They just let loose all over the football field, and that Bears defense was not prepared for it. Coming in against the Bengals surprised me a lot because they were able to go up on the Minnesota Vikings, who are normally short-handed on defense, but they were able to get up to a lead. We saw literally a pretty good showing, and I think that when the Bengals take the field, that offense has a mind of its own. You have two quality wide receivers. You also have a running back in Mixon who can get the job done. You have a quarterback who, Joe Burrow, is lighting it up. He's playing smart football, he's playing cautious football, and he's not throwing the game away. So you're looking at this game being a contrast of styles. I think that if that offensive line can hold together a little bit, Cincinnati will have a world of success against the Chicago Bears. I know everybody's expecting the Bears to have a bounce-back game defensively and really come together with the grips of this, but I think the Cincinnati Bengals have just enough offense to keep them off balance and off key during the football game. I expect the Bears to have a surge on offense in this football game. I don't think it's going to be the same poor showing against the Rams because, let's face it, Aaron Donald and company was coming after the quarterback every single play. I think they'll have a little bit more success on offense in this game, but I'm picking the Cincinnati Bengals to win this game against the Chicago Bears. Coming up next, you have the Houston Texans taking on the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, let's face it, folks, they gave away that game against the Chiefs. They played pretty well. Baker Mayfield and company played well enough to get it, but in the late part of the football game was not able to secure the bag. When we're talking about putting away Patrick Mahomes, you have to play 4 great quarters. You can't just play 3, you can't just play 2. But when you're looking at how they played, they got a lot of plays that they left on the field defensively. The Chiefs did a great job of keeping Mahomes to what they could have. You held Travis Kelce to what you could hold him to. Tyreek Hill shouldn't have scored on that play where he got the ball open by himself. But other than that, you got to look. This should be a walk in the park for Cleveland. I don't think that the Houston Texans are going to have the same success that they had against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think the Jaguars came in and are a young team, and they just caught the Jacksonville Jaguars between the eyes. I think Cleveland bounces back pretty well in this one. I think that they're going to be in Cleveland for this football game. So I think that this is going to be just what the doctor ordered for game number 2 for them, and it's going to be a hometown cream puff game for the Cleveland Browns. I have them winning this big. Coming up next, you have the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Indianapolis Colts. You're looking at this game as I think that the Rams are going to continue rolling in this football game. While the Colts, I like their team overall, top to bottom. Defensively, they have great players. Offensively, they have great players. Offensive line, they definitely have great players. But you have to look at what the Rams are doing right now on the offense. I don't feel like Sean McVay is going to take a step back. I think he's going to take a step forward with this playbook. And I think Matthew Stafford's going to unveil and unleash that arm a little bit more this week. They're going to play. And when you have a quarterback with a big arm like Matthew Stafford, that makes the difference in play calls. That makes the difference in you having confidence to go down the field. The run game looks a little better. The play action game looks a little better. And when these guys are out here protecting Matthew Stafford and he has time to dissect the defense, it makes a hell of a difference. When I look at the Colts, I'm not confident that they can get to the quarterback. They didn't get to Russell Wilson that well. Even though they got some pressure here and there, you got to think that's Russell Wilson. They always run at Russell Wilson out the pocket, any team that they play. So when it comes down to it, I think that the Rams have just what it takes to be able to beat the Colts soundly in Indianapolis, and I'm picking them to do so. I think it's going to be a much closer game late in the stretch, but I think the Los Angeles Rams will pull out that victory against the Indianapolis Colts. Next up, you have the Buffalo Bills taking on the Miami Dolphins. Now, we saw the Miami Dolphins eke out a victory against the Patriots. They just made one more play than the New England Patriots made. We're not used to seeing the New England Patriots make penalties and things like we've seen them do in that game, but the Miami Dolphins squawk out the 1-point victory. Looking at Buffalo surprised me because they were running the football so well. I don't know why they didn't take the ball out of Josh Allen's hands and put the ball on the ground. With over 6 yards per carry, I would have thought that late in the football game, they would have just stuffed it down the Steelers' throat. They had something going early on. And what do the Steelers do better than a lot of teams in the NFL? They have a premium pass rusher in Watt, and they just kept feeding Josh Allen to that. They kept stopping the clock. They kept letting the Steelers stick around. And finally, the Steelers took the lead and won the game. Buffalo, I think in this game is going to have a tough test because that defense for Miami is going to have a little bit of improvement on it. I think the offense is going to be a little bit more crisp being at home, and I think that they're really going to try to fight this one, a hard-fought game. Now, mind you, these teams know each other very well. This is not going to be a surprise game for anybody, but I think Buffalo has the talent to pull this out. I think Tua's on the hot seat a little bit, but that's not going to stop them from still fighting back against Buffalo. I think that Coach Flores is going to have a lot of surprises for Buffalo, but when it's all said and done, the Buffalo roster is just too talented to lose this football game, to lose to 0-2. I think that they knot it up and go 1-1 against the Miami Dolphins in this game. Looking at the next game on tap, you have the New England Patriots taking on the New York Football Giants. When you're looking at the Giants, they lost to the Panthers. They did a couple of things well. They did a couple of things that you just made you, They did lose a left tackle. When you're looking at premium left tackles, that is one of the best left tackles in the NFL. He's good and young, and he's a space eater. So you're looking at what they have to do to protect Zach Wilson at this point. They have to make sure they protect him with their life because you have a couple of rushers coming off the edge for New England that can really rearrange some furniture. And when you're looking at the Patriots, they did lose that game against the Dolphins, and I know Bill Belichick is eating himself up because they had a chance to win that game late before miscues happened. And I think that when you're looking at this game on tape, I think they're going to be something special in this football game. I think that defense is going to dictate a lot more. They're going to give Mac Jones a couple more times to throw the football in this one, but I think it's going to be more of a faster pace game. They're going to speed up their pace, and they're going to run the ball more extremely well for New England. That's what I'm thinking in this game, and I think that they'll have an easier time winning this football game, so I'm picking New England to win this football game with that. Next up on tap, we have San Francisco 49ers taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. It was refreshing to see my Philadelphia Eagles beat the Atlanta Falcons. It was definitely a dope game. You saw Jalen Hurts and company. They really got out to a fast start, and they really did not look back on the Atlanta Falcons. And you're looking at the 49ers. They beat an abysmal Lions team that just seemed like it was bad from start to finish. The challenge with this is, can the San Francisco 49ers slow down Jalen Hurts? When you're talking about throwing the football, that may not be their biggest concern. Running the football will be. Because when Jalen gets going with his legs, that opens up the pass game for everybody. That opens up backyard football. That opens up the offensive field to where now running backs become more deadly because you have to take that corner off of them or that linebacker off of them and then rush Jalen. At that point, your playmakers on the outside become that much more deadly because if they break that one tackle, they're at the second level. They're at the third level. Jalen does well in situations like this. The Philadelphia Eagles are not going to have him under center every single play. Mind you, the packages that they're putting together for Jalen, they give him some under center, they give him some out of shotgun, they give him some play action and roll reverse. So it's going to be different The San Francisco 49ers defense is lethal, but you got to keep in mind, they will try to confuse them and keep them off balance. If I'm the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator, I want to throw the kitchen sink at this defense because I just don't believe that they're there yet. I think that the defense takes a couple of weeks to get in there and to really get solid, but I think on this week, Philadelphia will have success against them. And going into this football game, you got to keep in mind, San Francisco does have to travel. They're going to be on the East Coast. And I think that when it's all said and done, the Philadelphia Eagles have an excellent chance of winning this football game. I believe in Jalen Hurts and company. I think they'll get the job done in this one. I'm picking the upset with this one. I think Jalen Hurts and company do just enough to get past the long defense of the San Francisco 49ers. They're both talented teams, and it's hey, I think they're going to get that upset this week. So I'm picking the Philadelphia Eagles to win in upset style fashion, and I think they'll run the football extremely well against the San Francisco 49ers. Looking at the next game on tap, you're looking at the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. We saw the big game, the 9 lives basically that the Las Vegas Raiders used last night against the Baltimore Ravens and how they were able to eke out that victory. You're looking at Pittsburgh, how they picked up a big win against the Buffalo Bills that a lot of people expected them to lose. And you're looking just what this team is. Pittsburgh's offense, they have to learn how to run the football. They have Najee Harris now, so they're going to have to put the pedal to the metal and start running the football eventually. If they don't run the football, it's going to bite them in the butt. You remember last year, they ran off 11 straight games, and then the season went downhill. They're going to have to start doing that now to protect Big Ben. He can't continue to take big shots like he took in the first game. So this one's going to be difficult because the Raiders' offense is definitely sizzling. When they get going and Derek Carr has the ability to throw the football, it becomes a whole different football team. And this team needs to stay away from the big mistakes. They need to stay away from the costly turnovers. They need to stay away from some of those things. So I think in this game here more than ever, you're going to see a premium on turnovers. And I think that with Las Vegas having, a little bit of issue with defense, this is going to be a higher scoring game. I think that the Steelers are going to keep up with them, but I think the Steelers are going to come out on top in a high scoring one possession game on this one. So I'm picking the Steelers to win this one. Coming up next, you got the New Orleans Saints taking on the Carolina Panthers. Both these teams picked up impressive wins in week 1. You see Carolina beating the Jets. Sam Darnold looked amazing in that football game. And you look at Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston really came out and he really threw daggers. He threw a couple of passes. He completed those touchdowns, and it was over with for the rest of the day. Packers did not respond in a timely fashion. They did not get off the mat, and it looked like a walk in the park. And you're looking at just how calculated Sean Payton was in that football game. His play calling suggests he knew they were going to be lackadaisical. He punched them in the mouth, and he kept on coming. He had Alvin Kamara where he needed to be. The defense for the Saints was buzzing. The defense was the MVP of that first game, and they really came to play with that. So I'm picking them right now against the Carolina Panthers. I think they're hot right now, and they continuously stay hot. I think they're going to go to Carolina, and they're going to pick up a big victory. That's an NFC South Division victory right there. So I think the Saints are going to keep rolling. Coming up next, you do have the Denver Broncos taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is going to be big for the Denver Broncos because I want to see if the Denver Broncos can get this job done. You have to beat all teams. Denver, Teddy Bridgewater is looking good for you guys, but you want to make sure you're progressively growing week to week. You want to make sure you're spinning that ball week to week, and you have to do it in a fashion that you're supposed to beat the teams that you know you can beat. Jacksonville is a young team. Let's just be clear. Their offense is not clicking right now. The defense is not clicking right now. Take advantage of this team while you have them down. Take advantage of Urban Meyer being a rookie coach. Take advantage of the rookie. Throw the kitchen sink at him. You should be fine. That defense is playing extremely well for the Denver Broncos. The offense is hitting all tunes. I know they lost Jerry Jeudy for a couple of weeks with a high ankle sprain, but you have to think that this offense still has enough pieces on it to run the football with Melvin Gordon and get the job done with Sutton and company. They have a tremendous offense. And then when you look at the defense, they're starting to get that front four going. And once you get that front four going, the no-fly zone is that much more deadlier in the back four. And I'm picking Denver to win that football game convincingly. Next up, you have the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Arizona Cardinals. I'm not even going to play with this one. I think that the big win with the Tennessee Titans against the Cardinals, the big win for the Arizona Cardinals against the Titans, you're looking at just what they did to make this game a track meet. They beat the Titans down. Even though Tannehill did have COVID, you're looking at him coming off of this, and Julio Jones never got going. Henry never got going. A lot of the key pieces for the offense for the Titans never got going. They were off balance with penalties. Julio made a couple of costly penalties, and you're looking at them being able to take advantage of that Titans team. I think it's going to be more of this in this game. I like Minnesota's offense, but I don't like their defense. I think that in this football game, you're going to see the Arizona Cardinals take the lead early in this one, and the Kyler Murray and company are going to run all over the field on them. The defense for the Cardinals, I like them better. The special team for the Cardinals, I like them better. The offense, I like them for the better. There's no reason for me to pick the Minnesota Vikings in this game. It would be a surprise if they upset them, but I'm picking the Arizona Cardinals in this one because I feel like they're going to get the upset with that. And I think that Kyler Murray and company are serious. They have B-Hop. They have A.J. Green. They have all the pieces they need. J.J. Watt on defense. Chandler Jones on defense, Buddha on defense. They have a lot of guys that they can really go to on offense, defense if they need key plays and stepping up. And I think the leadership role is going to carry them in this one. I think J.J. Watt's going to have them ready to play and fired up. So I'm picking the Cardinals to win that one. Atlanta versus Tampa. This is going to be easy for me. I think that they're going to roll. Tampa Bay is going to roll into Tampa, and they're going to get the job done against the Atlanta Falcons. I don't see this game as being competitive. I think the Atlanta Falcons are what they are. They're not a real talented football team. They're not disciplined. They have a lack of discipline up and down the offense and defense. And when you're looking just at what this team can do well, it's not a lot that they do well right now. Their signature piece, which is the offense, was not flying well against the Philadelphia Eagles last week. So I'm picking Tampa to win that one convincingly. Dallas Cowboys taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. This is going to be an interesting matchup because Dak Prescott is going to have to go against a defense that's pretty good. We saw last week how the Chargers went up against the Washington football team, and they did great things. Now, mind you, Justin Herbert is spinning that rock. The quarterback for the Chargers, I repeat, Justin Herbert is spinning that rock. Big, strong quarterback, spinning the football down the field. Keenan Allen and company are getting wide open passes, wide open catches, and they're really running the football extremely well for the San Diego Chargers when they have the opportunity. I think that in this game, you're going to see them clean up their offense a little bit. And I think that Dallas is going to have to play a track-style meet offense like they did against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the first one. I think they'll try to control the clock with Zeke. I don't know how successful they'll be controlling the clock, but they're going to try to. But I think that in this one, the Chargers are who we thought they are. They're going to play well in this one. They're not going to give that lead up in this one. I think that if they do get in a situation where they get a big lead, they're going to run the football and run the clock out as they should. I'm picking the Chargers to win this one. I don't believe in the Dallas Cowboys with this. Coming up with the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Tennessee Titans. This is going to be interesting because Julio Jones and company, as I said, did not go off in their first game. But we got to keep in mind, they won't be like that this week. I think Vrabel calling the team out and their slow start, their slow expectations, I think that really struck a nerve with a lot of guys. I think this is going to be a more competitive game. But let's face it, they're playing Seattle. Seattle is playing extremely well right now. They're humming around the football on defense. They took a Colts team and beat them pretty soundly. That was pretty good. So I'm telling you, these Seattle Seahawks are something to be reckoned with. I think that overall, when it gets down to it, you have to ask yourself, if you're Russell Wilson, what is it that you want to do? Do you want to get this job done early, or do you want to have a long day in the office? You don't want to face that Tennessee Titans defense that's opportunistic too often because they can get to the quarterback. They can create turnovers. But I think your offense is good enough if you're Seattle to run the football and get the ball out to your big monsters. And when I tell you, listen, you have a premium that offense is, if they get those footballs to those wide receivers, it's a whole nother ball game for Seattle. When they get in space, they're big, they're fast, they can move around, and it just gets to a point where now you have to worry about another dimension, because if they start running the football well, it's over with. If anybody's playing Seattle, it's over with. They can run that football and pass. It's over with, because that defense is going to be able to run and play pinned up aggressive football, pin their ears back and just run and straight blitz the quarterback. So I'm picking Seattle to win this one against the Tennessee Titans. I don't believe Julio Jones and them will get it together in time to beat them in this football game. Next up, you got the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Baltimore Ravens. This is probably going to be the game of the week. Lamar Jackson and company struggled against the Raiders. And you just look at what they did. They turned the ball over late. They got sloppy late. They didn't make plays late. They should have capitalized and not got turnovers late. And they were not able to finish the deal. The Las Vegas Raiders came back and beat them, and that was surely a loss that they were going to regret, because they're going to have to be chasing the Steelers. They're going to be chasing the Chiefs most of the season. I think that they're going to lose this game as well. I think that Kansas City is rolling right now. You look at Travis Kelce is able to get and do whatever he wants to. He's just proven that. It doesn't matter what defense he's facing, what offense he's on. He can get open at any point in time in any system and make it look good. When you look at him being able to block, him being able to move around and navigate through space, and even when it's crowded, in between linebackers, in between defensive ends, in between corners, he's still catching the football. It doesn't matter. He doesn't have to have a big day, but he will score touchdowns automatically in this game. I think that, the best quarterback in the NFL right now, Patrick Mahomes, is on that team. So they're going to be able to win this one handily. And I don't think Lamar Jackson has grown as a quarterback. And it shows. It shows bad. It shows. In the last game of the week, Detroit Lions taking on the Green Bay Packers. I think this is going to be a wake-up game for the Packers. They're going to wake up and get back in order. I think that overall the Packers they were embarrassed by the output that they put in week one. That was the worst game I think Aaron Rodgers has played in his career. That was the worst game that I've seen him look like that. And they got spanked by the Saints. So I think that they're going to come back like gangbusters in this one. Detroit is not a match for them. I don't care who the quarterback is for them at this point. I think the Packers will bounce back. I think they're going to get to 1-1, and you're going to see a whole different style of offense. Very aggressive on offense. I think Aaron Jones and company is going to run the football, and they're going to spin the ball down the field a lot more. Aaron Rodgers will have an MVP type game. So these are my picks for week 2. Feel free to definitely get in the comment section. Definitely enjoy. Definitely check out Sports Choice Plus for all the breakdowns on the YouTube channel. And as always, we thank you so very much for your time, and we'll see you next week.